Here we are.
I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where two teachers unwind, sip wine, and each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking, Hayley?
We are drinking Côte de Rosé. Little rhyme time for ya. It is a rosé. If you can't tell by the title of it, it's good. I kind of like it.
I kind of like it too. I was skeptical, not gonna lie.
Me too. I'm a red wine hoe for life. But yeah, this one is working for me. It is self-described as fresh and fruity, and it comes in the cutest little bottle. You may have seen it at the store, but it has like the rose imprinted on the bottom of the glass.
I feel like senior year of college, it was the wine that you'd buy your friend as a birthday gift. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it was the birthday gift wine because the bottle is gorgeous and it has like a little glass, like pink glass cork.
Yeah,
very
and
nice.
that's what you got to do if you want people to buy your wine just by looks, which is like that's like how I pick out books. So it applies to wine too. You got to make it cute.
Yeah, it's certainly cute and it definitely tastes good. I feel like sometimes rosés taste like, I don't know, like they taste almost like cheap or like too sweet. I don't know, like pink Moscato-y almost, but this one's good. I like this one.
Yeah, white wine and rosé just taste like headache to me. Like I just know what's going to be coming. Hopefully that's not the case tonight.
Right. The folks at High Point, who, by the way, are our partners in crime and have provided us with this wine, they've been very kind to give us red wine until this point. This is the first time we've deviated from our tastes, but they did a good job. As far as something that's not a red goes, I really enjoy it.
I agree. We're like the toddlers that they're trying to get to try new food.
I know. I wonder if they're going to start giving us like one non-red wine every week.
Just ease us into it.
Yeah.
I think that would be good for us to get outside of our box, but I think it'd be bad for us because we'd have more wine to drink. There'd be so many more options. It'd be hard to decide.
But it doesn't mean more wine. It's just more choices.
I might drink more wine. Maybe it's just going to be a problem for me.
Maybe. But why would that make you drink more wine if you have more choices?
Because I've been missing out this whole time.
It's not like you wear more clothes when you have more clothes. You wear the same amount of clothes. You just wear different clothes.
Fair enough. All I'm saying is that this is really great. We got it for $16.99 and you can too at High Point Grocery. Their address is 469 High Point Terrace in Memphis.
469 High Point Terrace.
Oh, yes. That was almost so good.
Girl, let me shake it for you one more time. How the fuck does that song go?
They need to change the name of the actual road to like drive, like 469 High Point Drive.
Yeah, that's way better.
Give it to you one more time.
High Point Terrace. You sound pretentious as fuck. Get over yourself.
Oh,
High Point Drive.
She said it. Yeah. Yeah. Do it for the song, for just this podcast. So
right.
that we can sing it terribly.
Right. Everyone who lives on that street is fucked, but it's for us. They can make a small sacrifice.
You can update your Amazon address shipping. It'll be fine. I did it after sending like 5 packages to our old address, but it's really easy once you just do it.
I know. Our landlord was so I think our landlord moved in and I think she's like very type A and she kept getting our mail and was getting super stressed out about it.
Oh yeah. They were nice until it was like the second package that got there that was ours.
And I want to be clear, this is fully on us. Like not talking shit. We screwed up.
We would just get our undies twisted about, other things. Maybe not the old tenant's mail sitting on.
Yeah, we get literally, because our house is big and it's near a college campus. So like there have been like college kids living in that house for a long time. So like a lot of roommates. And so we get like 12 different people's mail every day.
Yeah, easily. It's like, is this the ghost mail? Is this what this is?
we should start keeping the mail instead of throwing it out and then like spread it out around the Ouija board next time we do a seance and like ask about the people. We should ask for the tea on all the people that have lived in the house.
Oh my gosh, that's the best idea I think you've ever had. That's amazing.
Yeah, we should really do that.
And now it's to the point where it's like, I know who these people are. I'm like, oh, Corinne got mail. Ben got mail.
Fucking Jeremy again. What are you doing? Update your health insurance, Jeremy.
Yeah, this is important tax documents, apparently, Jeremy.
Carly needs to buy another bra from fucking Third Love again.
Capital One wants to give you a lower APR on your car. Corinne.
Keep going back to Corinne.
I know.
Well, I think you don't like her.
I don't have any issues with her. I like that name a lot. But I knew a girl in elementary school who her name was Corinne. And I feel like it would be weird for me to name a future daughter Corinne because I've only ever known one other Corinne. Is that, would that be weird?
I think so. But I mean, I feel like your baby would take like the priority spot in your mind pretty quickly, but it would be weird. I always liked that name, and then I watched Survivor, and like in Survivor Gabon, like there was a huge bitch named Corinne, and like we hated her. And then we also, like, fun fact, interviewed Marcus, who was on that season, and he says she's not that bad. He was her friend, but he was also part of the bitch pack, so I don't know.
I think that's even more of a reason to name my future daughter Corinne because I want to be a bitch mom. Fine. I said it. I want to be the cool mom. And to be the cool mom, you got to have a bitch daughter.
I feel like that's true. That's true. I guess I kind of
I didn't follow the logic until the last line.
I know. I thought you were calling yourself a bitch. I'm like, cool moms aren't bitches. Maybe they're bitches to the other moms, but they're not bitches to the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see when I get there in like 15 years.
My mom wanted to be the cool mom so bad. And then she had me, who had no friends and was a super loser weirdo. And it like killed her inside. She'd always like...
I doubt that's true.
Oh, it's true. Anytime I had a friend over, she'd like buy us like a bunch of ice cream and bend over backwards trying to like lure more kids to our house. I didn't want anything like that.
She starts paying anyone who comes over to your house. She's like, I'll give you $10 a week to hang out. Just come hang out, do homework over here. I'll have snacks.
Like, honestly, pretty much. I think like every friend I had in high school liked my mom more than me.
Well, she needs to start sending me some money because I've put in my time.
My mom sent you chocolate. I still need to give it to you.
That's true.
Yeah. But it's depressing. Sorry, Mom. Sorry you couldn't be the cool mom. I guess I just wasn't hot enough in high school.
Well, you're here where you are now. So we're recording a podcast. We should keep going.
Should we?
Yeah, we should.
Because we both discussed before this that we both have really short lessons. So we need to fluff this up a little bit.
Let's at least talk about the interesting stuff.
Like what? I thought everyone was interested in my high school emo days. Just kidding. No one cares. I know.
We need to see pictures and then you need to elaborate on those.
Oh,
but
girl,
for now,
I'll show you some pictures. I'll post the pictures on Patreon.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be super great.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to brace face days.
Oh, brace face days and teased hair.
Oof.
I'd wear a headband and like straighten my hair and then tease the shit out of it, but I'd do a bad job, so it just looked matted. Oh God.
My hair was just fried from straightening it all the time. Yeah. Well, actually it felt fried, but looking back, I'm like, dang, it was good. Like my hair's really fine now, but it was like thick and healthy despite like straightening it every day. Yeah, old age, man.
Yeah,
it
does get you. But I feel like so far I've been on the upward trajectory. I haven't hit the plateau yet, I think.
Yeah, your hair is looking really great.
Yeah.
And for women, it doesn't really, I feel like your hair can start to thin, but we have a greater chance, like, you know, to not bald and things like that.
Right. Yeah, my hair's been all right. And I also, like, senior year of high school and freshman year of college had, like, bleach, like, platinum blonde hair, and my hair is naturally dark brown, so it was real fried, like, bad.
Oh, so what I'm hearing is that you're blonde?
Hayley, you didn't know me when I was blonde. That's the thing, is right now I have brown hair.
Are you telling me that when we met, you didn't feel like you had known me your entire life? Because if so, this is detrimental to our friendship.
My soul knew you. However, I guess when we met, I was blonde.
Yeah.
I had like a heavy blonde balayage and my hair was only like chin length. So like it was mostly.
It was so short.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I had the Karen cut because I I had like a very blunt, very short bob for like senior year of college, and it was great. And I was getting it cut in Seattle, and everything was Gucci. And then I went and tried to get it cut in Enumclaw, like in like the hick town where my parents live. And I went to this. Never mind. I'm not going to call them out by name. But I was like, I just need a cheap haircut right now. Walked over there. I was like, how bad can this be? They just have to cut it bluntly straight around, and instead they shaved the back of my head and gave me a literal Karen cut, and I was just like too scared to stop them. And then I was literally stuck with a Karen cut until like the weird choppy back part that was like an inch long grew out.
Yeah.
For like a year.
It was a bit of a Karen cut.
And then I was forced to move to a new state and make all new friends and make all my introductions with a Karen cut.
Oh, I thought you were talking about later that fall when you went to the place in Enumclaw. Because when I met you, I didn't feel like it was a Karen cut. But when you came back from like fall break or something.
Oh, yep. That was
or
it.
Summer break. Yeah.
That might have been...
Because you definitely, like, I had met you and then you came back and you're like, it's a Karen cut.
Yeah. Maybe I did get it cut in the fall and that was it.
Something like that.
And then I got it cut in the winter and I got a normal haircut. I don't know. I think it was weird. Whatever. Who cares? It was, for a while I had a Karen cut. There we go.
But now your hair looks great and luscious.
Now it's normal. Yes. And it's growing back out. I haven't had long hair in a while.
Yeah.
For
it's
like years.
Great.
It's been really short. So it's,
I cheated the system. I got curly extensions. I'm going to try them on tomorrow.
Wait. I'm so excited to see.
I hope they don't look ridiculous.
They won't look ridiculous. They're not that long.
I watched several videos.
What are they, like?
They're 16 inches.
16?
Yeah.
They'll look fine. We have a few fun projects in the mix that we're excited to talk about. We are, again, I talked about this last week, but for any Patreon who is our Patreon currently, as of our 53rd episode, which marks our 1 year of production, we are going to do something special for you and send it to you in the mail. And we're working on designing it right now. We're very excited. So that's a fun surprise.
So you can still get in on that.
Yes, you can still get in on that. This is currently is this our 50th? No, this is our 49th.
Yep, almost there.
We're almost to our 50th. So you still have a few weeks. So if you were thinking about being a Patreon, it's pretty cool if you are a Patreon. We have fun there. You can see all of our embarrassing photos that we plan on posting. You can see our night creepy videos. You can see an extra substitute teacher podcast episode every month. There's a lot of good stuff over there.
One day as we get more patrons. Words are hard. As we get more patrons, it'll be a lot easier to produce more things, to get videos of us recording and all of that, and hire editors. And it's really fun to make these stickers and things that we have in the works as merchandise for you all, but we really couldn't do it without you. So
we really couldn't. It's really been a pleasure having you all as patrons, because there have been so many things we've been able to do these last few months that we never could have otherwise. Like Alec interviewed a part-time editor to possibly come on and help us with Night Classy. So we are just unbelievably grateful. And the more support we have, the more we can do. We're teachers. We don't make a lot of money. We don't have a lot of time. So anything helps.
Thank you in advance.
Yes, thank you in advance.
I know you're just popping right over to Patreon right now. There's an app. You can download it. It's a
good app. It is easy. And you can get in for as low as $1 and you get like all the content.
Right. Just picture this. You want to feel productive. So today, the only thing you put on your to-do list is to donate to us on Patreon. And it's really easy. So once you do it, you're going to feel so accomplished.
Yeah, and you'll feel like a good person. It's good karma. We're good people. You can give us money. It makes you a good person. The more money we don't have to spend on the podcast, the more money we can spend on our children in our classrooms.
Think about the children.
Think about the children.
Save the children.
Think about the wine that we could drink.
Oh, boy.
Our 100th episode is coming up. We need
a year.
No, sorry. I meant our 1 year episode. Our 1 year episode. Our 50th episode is coming up.
That's true.
I'm already drunk.
Technically everything is coming up. But
our 50th and our year episode is coming up. We need to do something special for ourselves and for everyone else.
Let's get a tattoo.
Wait, really?
I would. Yeah.
I'd get a Night Classy tattoo. No, I wouldn't.
Wow.
I wouldn't.
Wow. Okay.
I'll get it on like the inside of my lip, like one of those ones you pull down. I'd do that.
Okay.
Oh, that would
would do
actually
that.
be really funny. Let's do that, and then we can post on Instagram.
That is such hypocrisy, especially during COVID times, to hold your lip down to a tattoo artist.
I know, that's probably really bad. Maybe when COVID's over, I'll get an inner lip. If we reach 100 Patreons, I'll get an inner lip night classy tattoo.
Boom, you heard it
There
here
you go.
first.
I don't make that face. They go away after 2 years.
Yeah, and you can't
And
see
you don't
it.
even see it unless you pull your lip down.
I didn't say anything, but I am allowed to make faces.
You didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, you didn't have to. But there's no stakes here. You can't see it unless you pull your lip down, which why would you ever do?
Right. You don't let her put the cream on her lips. You don't let her get it tatted.
So donate to us on Patreon, 100th Patreon. It's like an incentive for a classroom. If we're good for 100 days, we'll have a pizza party. If we get to 100 Patreons, we'll get a night classy tattoo on our inner lip.
Because that's what you want to see. Clearly.
Clearly. I've decided that I want one, and so I'm going to put a requirement on it so that it looks like it's not me just wanting something stupid.
You're talk me into it. Talk
Yeah.
me into it. I dare you. Talk me into it.
Right. It's like those teachers that are like, if you're good for a month, I'll dye my hair whatever color you want. They just want to dye their hair.
If you're good for one day, we're going to watch movies all day tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, that's more like it. That's like I give my students, my second period class is 20 minutes longer than all my other classes. So I give them 20 minutes of reading time. And I can see if they're reading on the website I use, and half of them don't read. And I'm always like, if you're not reading, if I see that a lot of people aren't reading, I'm not going to give you this time anymore. But I mean, I love having 20 minutes where I sit and do nothing in the beginning of the day.
Definitely.
So I'm still going to give them that time.
You need
no
that
matter
time.
what.
Yeah, they're not going to call your bluff.
No.
You get on to school on Tuesday and they're like, so, Miss Barnhart, I listened to your podcast.
That would not be their main takeaway from this podcast, let me tell you.
Oh, boy. Well,
Man.
maybe one day we'll find out. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Just gotta cycle them in and out before they get wise.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, speaking of Patreon, we have some fabulous new Patreons to shout out.
We sure do. So I would like to shout out Corey D. Dehaney. I believe that is how you pronounce this last name. Corey is from Columbus, Ohio. So we're twin state sisters. That doesn't even make sense, but go
State
Bucks.
twins.
State twins, go Ohio. The endless fields of corn. They're just, they're crazy in Ohio. Anyway, a little fun fact about Corey. Her aunt, Elise Dehaney, was a writer for The Little Mermaid 2. And that's where The Little Mermaid is all married, and then she has a daughter, and then her daughter's rebellious too.
Oh my God, I forgot.
I know, right?
I've seen that movie. It's been a long time.
It fast forwards 14 years into the future, and it's just great. And Eric is still a snack, let me say.
Still a snack. And her daughter has brown hair, right?
Yeah, she does. Dark brown hair.
I remember being like, that's me.
I am the Little Mermaid's daughter.
Yeah.
It literally is because your mom has red hair.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Whoa, my mind is exploded. Well, Corey is clearly destined for greatness as she is one of our patrons and beloved listeners, and her aunt writes really cool stuff for awesome movies. So shout out to you, Corey. Thank you for your support. We love you so much.
Thank you, Corey. I also want to shout out Megan Hara of Ambridge, Pennsylvania. And I'm very excited about Megan because A, she joined the Dean's List. So she's clearly a big balla shot caller. And she also, when she joined the Dean's List, she told me and recommended an episode topic because that's what you get to do when you're on the Dean's List. She said that she's only on episode 15. And I'm like, girl, you just listened to Mariana's Web Part 2 and you're going to give us money? That's the worst episode ever. But I thank you.
You caught her in your web.
Apparently, she must have a lot of faith in us. So.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So we're so excited to have Megan on our team and so excited that she has faith in us after listening to those rough early episodes. Thank you. Thank you, Megan. And we're excited that she's on the Dean's List. So she picked an episode topic. She had one ready to go. And I'm excited. It's Hayley's turn to do the Patreon topic.
Dude, I'm so excited. Like, I'm surprised that you said you don't really know anything about it.
I've heard of it,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know anything.
It'll be so fun to research it because I know plenty about it, but to get the deets is going to be fun. And then to be able to share that, oh my God, it's going to be such a fun episode.
Yeah. So thank you, Megan. We're excited.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks. All right. Well, we breathalyzed.
We sure did. I blew a .096.
And I'm a sober gopher and blew a .031. I've already done some catching up since I breathalyzed, but I'm going to keep catching up while Hayley tells me her lesson.
That's good because you're definitely going to want to grab a drink for this
Oh no,
one.
is it sad?
It's terrible.
Oh
yeah.
God.
I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting, but yeah.
Is it true crime?
No, it's not true crime. It's like true life.
Oh God. That's even worse.
What episode did you tell us about the conjoined twins? I forget their names already.
Tatiana and Krista Hogan. That was, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, an episode where you explained to us the lives of Tatiana and
Tatiana and Krista.
Tatiana and Krista.
Tatiana. That's like what people call me by mistake when they can't say my name.
Right. They just like word vomit your name out.
I get Katerina a whole lot.
Katerina. I kind of like that. The Katerina wine mixer. Well, I thought that it would be fun to do a lesson that, your twin lesson, to have a lesson that is about twins for itself.
Just twins?
Well, it's not just twins. It definitely is not going to have us feeling quite as jolly, but I'll just dive into it to do some explaining. It's really interesting. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, whoa. And then I did the research and then I was in too deep to go back and find something else. It'll be good. It'll be good.
I feel that.
So on April 3rd, 1950, after laboring for 2 days and 2 nights, Yekaterina Krivoshlyapova.
That's why you called her Katiana or whatever.
Yeah. I'm trying to speak Russian now. Yekaterina gave birth in a hospital near Moscow. And since it wouldn't be until the 1950s that fetal ultrasounds were used to, peer into the womb, check out what's going on in there, doctors and mother were both surprised when she gave birth to twins. The even bigger shock came when they realized that these 2 girls were conjoined twins.
Not co-joined?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, or should I say co-joined? They were joined, they were together, they were co-joined.
I mean, co-joined makes more sense than conjoined.
Yeah, you have to pronounce less. You save energy by just taking off that one letter.
I think so.
Dasha and Masha were born fused at their hips. Yeah, isn't that cute? Dasha and Masha.
It's cute, but also they're already twins. They're already conjoined. Do we have to give them a rhyming name?
Yeah, I think that's the qualifiers.
Really, I think they really need their own identity, and the rhyming name doesn't help.
Oh, don't worry. They have their own identities.
Okay, good.
They're born fused at the hip at a 180-degree angle. So it's they're just a line up top, basically. They each have their own torsos. They each have 2 arms, their own heads, of course. And they had 1 leg each. And then they had a third vestigial limb on their back that had some movement.
Like a leg?
Yeah, it was a leg.
Okay.
Yeah. And but they couldn't walk on it. So it's just their 2 legs. But generally they were really healthy newborns. There was no escaping the fact that they were conjoined twins. They definitely weren't going to go in and separate them at birth. But Masha and Dasha would definitely need special services throughout their life. So when the hospital workers told the mother, Yekaterina, that the twins would need full-time care and that the state would take care of them, she agreed. And the agreement was that the girls would be taken care of by nurses that the state assigned in some hospital type setting, and that Yekaterina would keep custody over the girls and she would get to visit them regularly. That's one source and side of things, but other sources say that the hospital told Yekaterina that she had given birth to a mutant child.
Oh my God.
And they took it away from her without her ever seeing the girls. Until one night when she was still in the hospital, a night nurse brought the girls to see her. And instantly she fell in love. And after already discussing the state taking care of them, she was like, no, I can take care of my children. I want to have my parental right to raise my children, and I will not grant state custody. So either way, we don't know if she automatically agreed or if it was kind of a fight, but the agreement really didn't last long because there was this physiologist named Piotr Anakin, and he studied the separate roles of the nervous system and the blood system. And for some reason, he was really interested in learning more about how the body reacts to a couple different things. The first thing being extended states of sleep deprivation, extreme hunger, and extreme temperature change.
Tell me he did not do that to the babies.
Well,
oh my God.
I wish I could.
Okay.
Anakin put out an alert to all the maternity wards around the USSR. He was looking for subjects to study under these conditions he wanted to learn about, but he wasn't looking for just anybody. The perfect subject would be conjoined twins who share a blood system, but not a nervous system. And that was Masha and Dasha. So he gets the alert that, we have 2 newborns here. They're exactly what you're looking for. And they agreed. They're like, this is perfect. So Anakin was interested in studying these twins. And within days of their birth, he was there. He brought other researchers along with him. But, Yekaterina, their mother, quickly got in the way of what they were trying to do and how they were trying to do it. So the researchers hatched a plan. And when the babies were still tiny little things, a member of Anakin's team told the mother that the twins had died after coming down with pneumonia.
No.
Yeah. So she was like, oh, gosh, okay. And she just went on with her life.
What?
I don't know what they did.
I don't want to blame her because they sound super obviously exploitative. But I feel like you'd ask to see the body. I feel like I wouldn't leave the hospital until I saw proof.
Right. You'd want to bury the body, or I'm not really sure what they did in the USSR.
But, she's also, it sounds like a victim in this situation as well. So she probably didn't have much control. I don't want to blame her, but that's just mind-blowing.
But there are questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reality of it all was that the twins were taken to the Institute of Experimental Medicine to be better studied under controlled conditions of a lab. This is so sickening. The experiments that they did on them were medical torture. So they often did things where it's like one twin was covered in ice until her body dropped close to just fatal levels, and they just watched what the other twin did.
I have no words.
I know.
I can't believe that.
Me either.
Yeah.
These are babies.
Yeah.
These are people. It doesn't really matter your age.
Right.
They burned them. They starved them. They kept them up, they prevented them from sleeping to achieve severe sleep deprivation because he just wanted to see what happened.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
I don't know.
Of course, I'm not a fan of animal testing, but if you're gonna do these kind of experiences, you can create conjoined sheep in a lab. Do this test on a sheep if you have to.
Yeah, I feel
I feel like people aren't gonna like that, but better than a baby.
I feel like he really didn't even see them as people, as even beings. It was more so he was just in his own head determined to do whatever he wanted. Yeah.
That's so horrifying.
It doesn't stop there. He injected them with radioactive substances.
The fuck?
He would electrocute them.
When was this? The 50s?
The 50s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He electrocuted them in time to a metronome to test their reflexes.
Oh my God. That's so fucked up. That sounds
so
like a
fucked up.
movie.
I know. It is. And there's videos of this.
God. Did you watch them?
No. I watched some videos on them, but I didn't watch the ones that had like stuff like that.
Yeah.
When they were babies, they also experimented by feeding one twin. I did watch this video, but I didn't get too far into it because I couldn't. They would feed one twin and just leave the other twin to starve to see the reactions between the two of them. And all the while, they're monitoring their lung, heart, and brain activities with all types of medical tests and equipment. Their stomachs were constantly poked and prodded to monitor gastric juices. And their blood, at one point in their life, was taken 3 times a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to cry. Why would you tell me this?
I don't know. It's just, there's more. There's more.
Oh my God,
I know.
Hayley.
I watched a video on it. I was just entranced by it. I thought it was so insane because this next part is like, they shared just about everything as their bodies were concerned, but their personalities were polar opposites. Like if they were not literally conjoined, you would think that they lived on 2 separate parts of the planet.
Did they live until adulthood?
They did.
Okay.
They did. So Dasha is described as submissive, quiet, kind, and thoughtful, and she displayed traits of an empath. But Masha, on the other hand, was described by one of her best friends, Juliet Butler, who we'll get to know more about her. She described her as a dominant, charming, manipulative, and egocentric.
Yeah.
And it had always been that way. Like from birth, there was something more extreme about Masha. So obviously it comes as no surprise that after enduring a kidnapping and severe torture throughout childhood, Masha started to display antisocial behaviors.
Yeah, I feel like of course those personalities exist no matter what, but it almost sounds like 2 different coping strategies. Like you can either try to go with the flow and deal with it, or you can be super confrontational.
Yeah, and we get to see that in these conjoined twins, these 2 sisters. Dasha was forgiving of the people who tormented her during her childhood, and Masha was justifiably hateful, unforgiving, like she called them Nazis. Mm-hmm. And you're right, it's like 2 different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And it really played out. So if anything, they shouldn't have been studied from the start, but if anything, I feel like it's really a study of conditions and mindset.
Mm-hmm. And nature versus nurture, like they had the same fucked up upbringing, but they turned out totally different.
Yeah, there was nothing different about their upbringing between the 2 of them. Like I think they, whether one of them froze or was starved, like they got the brood of it. It's believed that Masha was a psychopath. She severely lacked empathy. She lied constantly. She manipulated people, and she tended to maintain control over her twin, Dasha. From a young age, Dasha was quick to follow orders of the researchers and just listen and cooperate, but Masha would refuse to participate in experiments, which I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But that just shows you their personalities from such a young age. Masha would ignore the caretakers. She would throw whatever they were trying to get her to do, like putting on socks. Meanwhile, Dasha would quickly learn how to do these things, while her sister fell even more behind developmentally. Fast forward several years of living in institutions, and they ended up going to what was called the School of Invalids. Dasha fell in love with a boy named Slava at 18 years old. Dasha, at this point in time, she was romantic, she was feminine, she wanted to be sexual, but Masha hated it.
I would hate it too if I was connected to my sibling and they wanted to have sex.
Yeah. But she wasn't even interested in sex really, which is understandable too. Like I can't blame her for it. But she just took a more extreme approach to it. It is thought that she was gay because she would always watch movies with a lot of like girl to girl action, and she would get really close and like kiss on their good friend Juliet's ears until it got like awkward. And she also forced Dasha and herself to have their hair cut short and for them to wear androgynous or more like men's clothing. So go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to ask, how did she force Dasha to have her hair cut short?
That's a good question. I don't really have an answer for that. I think that it was more just that Dasha probably thought it was easier to just abide by whatever Masha wanted. It really seemed like she had complete control. She would like take complete control over conversations. She wouldn't allow Dasha to say a word. And she was also known to physically abuse her sister. So I think that probably has a big thing to do with it.
For sure, yeah. You're tethered to her.
Yeah, you can't get away.
Yeah.
So she would like threaten her with violence too, but it wasn't just limited to her sister. Masha would act out violently towards Slava, this guy that Dasha had fallen in love with too. Which again, I can't really blame her. It's hard
I mean, there's no like true empathizing because you can't imagine what it would be like to be either of these people. So I feel like you just have to observe. It's hard to pass any judgment, you know?
Yeah, so true. Throughout all their perils in their life, their mother lived on. You know, she thought that the twins were dead. When she found out they were alive, she reconnected with them. She visited them. And she tried to build a relationship with him for 4 years. But Masha was so damaged, and it's thought that she was a victim of like detachment in childhood. So after 4 years, mom stopped trying, and she was just basically run out of the house. And their relationship was ruined. Masha was so cruel to her. And this really led Dasha into a deep depression. She would drown her sorrows in alcohol, Dasha would drown her sorrows in alcohol, which Masha hated. So Masha would like smoke cigarettes to get back at Dasha because they were both doing something that they didn't like. But really at the bottom of the barrel, it was like Dasha was trying to drink so much so that she could get Masha drunk so that she would stop abusing her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Oh God, this is not a fun lesson.
Not fun at all.
It's almost over. She tried to hang herself, but luckily was not successful. But a bright part in this story was that the twins ended up making a lifelong friend in a British journalist, Juliet Butler. They didn't really talk to any press at all. They were kind of unseen by the public eye. And if they were, it was not really nice. But they wanted to talk to Juliet because they were mesmerized with Western culture. So what started out as a little interview with Juliet quickly transformed into them like hanging out all the time. They really formed a real relationship and friendship. And just from the interviews, you can really tell Juliet definitely favored Dasha. You know, she was nice. Juliet kind of felt for her, but Masha was always taking over conversations and abusing her sister. And that's where we get a lot of the evidence, anecdotal evidence that Masha was a psychopath. She displayed a lot of the traits of that. This brings us to 2003. Masha suffered a fatal heart attack. They were like in their 50s, and despite the abuse that she endured from her sister, Dasha refused to follow the doctor's advice to be separated from her twin.
Even when she died?
Even when she died. Yeah.
Could they have safely separated her?
Yeah, they offered to.
Oh, wow.
They offered to, and she wasn't about it. Dasha kind of refused to believe that she was dead. Doctors at first told her that she was just sleeping to kind of comfort her, but it quickly became clear that she had died. And then Dasha ended up dying 17 hours later due to blood poisoning.
Oh, because she wouldn't separate?
Yeah. So all the decomposition that had started in Masha's body quickly, you know, they shared that bloodstream.
That's so sad that because I feel like she was probably just in shock.
Yeah.
And like, how do you make a decision like that when you're taking in the death of your sister who you've literally never been apart from?
I feel like she never really even got to make a decision in her life.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the biggest ones
right,
to
you're
make.
faced with the biggest decision you possibly could, almost, if not the most, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, that's so tragic.
I know. I'm sorry for such a downer lesson, but it's just so crazy to think that these things happened and that these people exist, and it's a tragedy. There's this lesson was really dark, and I'm really sorry. It'll be
No, but it's interesting. It's always interesting to hear about a life that you know, you would never have any idea what it's like otherwise, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I wish we knew more, especially because they were born in the 50s. Not everything is as well documented, and they only really got close to this British reporter, Juliet Butler. So we don't have a ton of information. A lot of the articles that I read is just a repeat of other articles, but it was really interesting. And if there is something else beyond this, I hope that Masha and Dasha are doing well and they have found peace.
Yeah.
Oops, can I ask a question real quick before you wrap up? Do you know, you being a psych major, if there's any connection between being tortured and becoming a psychopath? Because that new Netflix documentary about the Night Stalker, like they mentioned that his father would like tie him up in graveyards and tell him that the devil was coming to like visit him and really tortured the shit out of him, and he became a psychopath.
Yeah, I by no means am an expert. I literally just have a psych degree. But there is definitely a cycle, and you see it a lot, especially in cases of like sexual abuse. So I feel like that has to do with like you do what you know. And it's not that like you may not grow up thinking that it's normal, but it's kind of hard to grow outside the box of what you see and experience every day.
And even if you are a psychopath, you can live a totally normal life if you maybe, like, this isn't every case, but like if you had really good parents and therapists and a good upbringing that taught you how to display empathy and how to function in society, you can be totally fine. It just takes a little bit of extra work to learn social cues. But if you grew up thinking torture and abuse was normal and you already have that inclination, it's not looking great.
Right. Or even if like normal is like a bad word, that was a misstep on my part, because it's also like having that control over someone. Like someone had control over me in that way, and now I need to take that back. Like it's really true. Hurt people. And I think that's what it comes down to. I'm sure there's got to be studies to back that up about like just looking at the relationship between those who are abused and experiencing mental illness. I think that there's definitely there. I can't pull anything out of my head specifically in this moment, but yeah, I think there's research to back it up.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably something you're born with, and then like depending on how you're raised is how it manifests.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's experience and nature and nurture.
Yeah. It's a combination. It's something so complex that, yeah, we don't even really understand. I don't think there's any.
Yeah, it's really hard to study that. Like, we don't want to have another case of like Masha and Dasha. Like, we don't want that. So I think it's really about not even looking at experiments in labs that go on, but just people's lives. And I think that's what makes murderers so interesting to people. It's like we don't want to glamorize that at all, but it is so interesting.
Yeah. It's like how did this person end up doing this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened?
What made you want to do that?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a good lesson.
Thank you.
It was definitely not fun.
Bring
but
it down the house.
Yeah, right? Mine's fun and light.
Okay, good. Let me cite my sources real quick. First of all, we had an article called Life in a Sister's Shadow by Juliet Butler, The Torture and Sadness of Russia's Most Famous Conjoined Twins by Juliet Butler, the Wikipedia page for Masha and Dasha, The Fate of the USSR's Most Famous Siamese Twins by Yekaterina Sinelshikova, how conjoined twins ended up living very different lives. And that is a YouTube video. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Hayley.
Let's hear a word from our sponsors. All right, so Valentine's Day has just passed, but that is quite all right. It's important to love yourself and your lips every single day. And I go with Ralphie and Alice when I'm loving my lips. It doesn't matter if it's a daytime look, if I just need a moisturized, or if I need a little oomph. I can definitely depend on their lip balms. They make my lips feel good, moisturized, and they even have tinted ones like the Pop Sticks, or the lipsticks is just like a neutral, gives it a nice little glaze. I love treating my lips. I think you will too.
So yeah, we all know that your lips were getting a little bit extra activity this Valentine's Day, whether that just means kissing or a little more hardcore. They definitely deserve some love after what you just put them through, you fucking slut. Get yourself some Ralphie and Alice and fix that shit up. There's even a fix stick. You can exfoliate them a little bit and whip them right back into shape. So if you would like to order your Ralphie and Alice, you can go to ralphieandalice.com, use our promo code NIGHTCLASSY, no spaces, the name of this podcast, and you can get 15% off. And you all, that's a whole lot. You won't find this offer anywhere else. Treat yourself.
Kiss dry lips goodbye.
Mwah.
You fucking slut.
Welcome back to Miss Barnhart's room. I had a similar situation to you where I had a crisis this week because I started researching a million different things and I couldn't settle on something. So I texted my grandpa and I was like, hey, do you have any ideas for a topic suggestion? And he sent me a text, and I'm just going to read it to you.
That's so cute.
Wait till you hear this. He goes, how about all the old names that men used to describe their peckers 50 or 60 years ago?
Please.
I.e. peckerhead, yard of hard, dick face, spank the monkey, all the terms older men used but never are used in the newer generation. Have your listeners call in for additions to my list and ask your younger listeners what they now use.
Yes.
And then he asked my grandma, and she added choke the chicken to the list.
What if she was like, how about half incher?
Just from my own personal experience.
Yard of Hard is a good one. I've never heard that.
It is a good one.
Wow, I can't.
They're all good ones.
Wait, this is amazing.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't go with that. This is all to say that I chose something else.
Can I add one real quick?
Yeah.
Just hearing your grandma say choking the chicken, which is sort of like masturbation. I was reading the screenplay for There's Something About Mary, and the screenwriter described the guy masturbating as flogging a dolphin.
Oh, God.
Oh.
That makes me,
I
that
see.
makes me sad.
I can see that in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So flogging the dolphin is added to the list. Anyway,
Okay. Thank you.
I'm done.
Also, please don't take my grandpa's advice. I would not like you to write in with names for your dick. Please don't do that. I went a different route. I was like, okay, like what's something that's on my list of things that I just want to know about? Like what on here do I want to know about?
That's the best way to go, really.
Yeah, I agree. Like not something I already know everything about that I want to tell people. Like what is interesting to me? And I grew up on the History Channel. I don't know about you, but the History Channel was always on. And what was always on the History Channel was this movie called The Man in the Iron Mask.
I don't think I know it. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say that fucking fake documentary about mermaids that made me think that mermaids were real.
No, but this is almost weirdly similar because it looks like a historic documentary. At least it did when I was a kid. But like, of course, it's more of a historical fiction. And I would watch this movie. And in this movie, like the only thing I remembered about it was just like this man, and he literally wore an iron mask, and he was kept in a prisoner up in a tower. And nobody could know who he was, and he was very lonely, and it just haunted me. Like the thought of this man in an iron mask with shaggy hair, and of course in my like kid brain, the mask was locked on him. Like he couldn't take it off. He was probably miserable.
Like a chastity belt.
Yes, but for your face. Exactly. And I just could never get this out of my brain. And I'm sure a lot of people listening know exactly what I'm talking about because it was like every time you turned on your TV, this movie was playing. And I would watch this movie every time it came on and just be fascinated by it and scared because it was scary to see him in this iron mask.
How have I not heard or seen this? Like, I have no idea what
I
you're
really
talking
don't
about.
know because it was always on TV. The movie depicts a prisoner who was held prisoner under Louis XIV in France, and he was forced to wear a mask to conceal his identity at all times. And this has been a major topic in like history, historical fiction, pop culture. It was first brought into like major pop culture when a book was written about this in the 1840s called The Man in the Iron Mask by famous author Alexandre Dumas. It was a work of historical fiction which speculated that this prisoner was real. There was a prisoner kept by Louis XIV whose identity was concealed under a mask.
Turns out Louis XIV is gay, and he wanted to hide how beautiful this prisoner was from the public because it was his boyfriend.
Maybe. This book was titled The Man in the Iron Mask, and it was about how this prisoner was Louis XIV's secret twin brother. And he hid him away because he didn't want him to threaten his crown. And he didn't want anyone to see his face because it was his identical twin.
Wow. This is like a twins only podcast now.
Oh, I didn't even realize that connection. Yeah, twins only. And this book, everyone loved this book. It caught on like wildfire and it inspired tons of movies. Like I tried to find the movie that I'd watch on the History Channel and I couldn't even find it because there were so many movies. It was like, I was like Man in the Iron Mask movie. And then there were 1,000 movies. And then I would try to narrow it down. I don't know. It was probably a made for TV movie, you know, like for like a shitty, you know.
Yeah, they're like, we're not going to reach for the stars, but we're going to reach for
We're going to reach for the
nosebleeds?
10-year-olds that are homesick right now.
Hell yeah.
That's our audience.
Know your audience.
Right. They knew it. I'm still talking about it.
Yeah,
And I'm 24 years old.
A little too old. We need to take marketing notes from them because they nailed it.
They nailed it. There was also a 1998 movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo in the house.
And that movie was kind of weird. It was like about the Three Musketeers and then like Porthos, Athos, and Aramis. And then they like kidnapped the Man in the Iron Mask and told him that he was Louis XIV's brother and they were going to depose him. It was a very dramatic movie. It was definitely a work of historical fiction, not a documentary. There was also a book and movie called The Mutt in the Iron Muzzle. And I remember reading the book. It was a Wishbone book. Did you ever read Wishbone books?
Were they like hard? Were they hard pages?
No, they were.
Okay, so not like a child's book.
It was a child's book. I think it was like,
but not like a 3-year-old's book.
No, I think it was like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's like the first chapter book you ever read. Like it was like the words were big and there were some pictures, but they were like black and white, you know?
The first picture book I think I ever read was Dick and Jane.
The first chapter book?
Well, I don't know if
picture
there were
book.
chapters. Picture book. I thought I said
Yeah.
picture book.
Well,
But yeah.
you said picture book, but I'm talking about like the first chapter book you ever read. Like there were chapters,
Oh,
but
I
it was
see.
made for children that were like 8 years old, like just learning how to like really read.
In that case, it was Junie B. Jones.
Yes, it was like a Junie B. Jones, but like maybe even like a little lower. I don't remember. I mean, I haven't picked up a Wishbone book since I was a child. I really don't know. But they would make like these scholastic movies where they would act out the books. And so literally a dog starred in this movie called The Mutt and the Iron Muzzle. And I remember watching it. I don't know that I read the book, but I remember seeing this movie. That was how big this story was. I feel like it was just this weird thing that happened in the 2000s that lives on in my memory. Like, I saw this movie, The Man in the Iron Mask, all the time. I watched this show where a dog was reenacting this weird historic mystery. And I was a kid when I was watching it, so I never really knew what was going on.
There has to be a Facebook page where it's like, this is the page for millennials to share weird stuff that happened to them.
Yeah.
And for people to empathize.
It feels like a fever dream. Like, we have a dog acting out this like 15th century France,
I think they're
17th century
something.
France story, and like the dog was kept in a tower wearing a muzzle. It's weird.
They're never going to understand that a real human was kept in a tower. Let's change everything and make it a dog.
Yeah.
Or more so, keep everything and just make it a dog.
And the whole thing with Wishbone, I think he reenacted like literary books, and like The Man in the Iron Mask by Alexandre Dumas, like it was like a major literary work, and the dog wasn't acting out the actual historical story. He was acting out this book. And so that's what this was. But this work of historical fiction by Alexandre Dumas, it was based in reality. And so I went and researched the story and researched the mystery of the Man in the Iron Mask. There he is.
Wow. Okay. So we're looking at a picture of, it kind of looks like a terrier type dog. It's white, and one of them has like the big curly wig
Like French
on.
wig.
Yeah. And then the other one, it has like its little paws over the side of a iron cast window, and it has a full what is it called?
An iron muzzle.
An iron muzzle.
He has a whole iron muzzle.
His-
It's so cute.
His eyes are sad. It's not cute. Don't let Cat fool you.
It is cute. He
We
looks
gotta
like a
share
little
this on
beluga
Instagram.
whale. Oh, this will definitely be what we share on Instagram.
His eyes are sad, and then the dog in the French wig is like looking over. There's something in his eyes that just tells you that there's more behind the scenes.
And I bet that's the same. That is the same dog.
Yeah, definitely.
The one dog plays all the roles in this movie.
What a good dog. No way he's a mutt.
He looks like I think it was a Jack Russell Terrier. Anyway, I did some research on this. Turns out there's a whole lot of history associated with this mystery. During the reign of Louis XIV, there was a prisoner that spent several decades in Bastille and moving around between other French prisons. He was arrested in 1669 and was held in prison until his death in 1703. During his imprisonment, he was always made to wear a mask to hide his identity.
That's how conservatives feel right now during quarantine. Forced to wear a mask to conceal their identity. A muzzle. You said mask. It's relative.
No, I just mean I feel like I see all these memes. It's like, I'm not going to wear a muzzle.
Yeah, literally. It's literally a muzzle with chips in it. They're tracking us everywhere we go.
And I'm so confused. Like, what's that thing where like they think that we're using facial recognition software to track them, and then like wearing a mask somehow helps that? I don't understand.
Also, you don't have, you have a phone. So you know they're already, there's already so many apps that track, your location and things about you, and you accept website cookies, which I don't even know what that means, but I know it's what gives me targeted ads.
I saw a TikTok the other day that's like, you can go to whatever, and they told me what to do, and then you can see exactly everything Google knows about you. And I went there, and they knew quite a bit about me.
I went to Facebook and I turned off whatever that thing, that tracking thing was. And I went to use an app, and it was like, you're logged out. And I was like, damn it, let me just
Yeah.
reconnect everything to my freaking Facebook.
There's no option. You got to let them do shit. But then I was looking through and I have all these weird targeted stuff because of research I do for Night Classy. I think I looked it up right after my candy episode. And so it kept like trying to sell me candy.
They're like, you have type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I had something pop up today just after us discussing your lesson.
Yeah. It's crazy. It really gets you. And then also when I'm talking in my group chat and I'm like, oh, let me look that up. I go and like start typing it in my search bar and it pops right up.
It already knows.
It already knows.
It's creepy, but I kind of like it.
It's convenient. Yeah, not gonna lie, I don't mind it.
I would spend less money from all these targeted ads.
Oh my God. Yeah, the targeted ads kill me. The targeted TikTok videos are what really kills me. I've bought so much shit I see on TikTok.
Dude, you know how, okay, it's been a long time since we've talked about this, but you know how I think I have that like end of a not cotton, but cotton swab thing in my ear? I don't think it's in there, but I got targeted ads this week for this like, I guess endoscope kind of where it goes into your ear and you can like see what's in there and you can like clean it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You should buy that. I would like to try it.
$40. Next paycheck, I might do a little investing.
You should. I would. Do you think it can go deep enough in your ear to actually see anything important?
Yeah, I saw videos of people using it. I looked it up beyond the ad because I'm interested.
Okay.
Phone, do you hear me? I'm interested. Give me a promo code.
I think you should buy that. I'd be interested as well.
Anyway, enough about earwax.
The mask that this prisoner wore, we have evidence that it was black velvet. We found what we think was the mask, and it's made of black velvet. There's no evidence that suggests it was actually iron. We think that was kind of an exaggeration made to, make this sound crazier. But also, I kind of feel like black velvet mask is almost creepier. In a way.
I feel like if you're going to have anything covering your face for 30 to 40 years, it should be velvet.
Yeah. So thank God.
I meant silk, not velvet.
Well, velvet would be better than iron.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Almost anything is better than iron.
Yeah. And before we explore who this prisoner might be, because there are theories, like we said, his face was hidden. It's a mystery.
Who is he?
We'll find out. First, we're going to do a little bit of background on Louis XIV and just France at the time. We're going to set the stage as if I'm making my own movie on this.
Right. Set the stage as if I know nothing because I know nothing.
I mean, I know nothing either about like 17th century France. God.
Where's Kelly?
I know. She needs to be here right now.
That's our roommate who speaks French and knows things.
She knows things. We are in the mid to late 1600s, very early 1700s. So think Beauty and the Beast times, but like a little bit before.
Prime time.
Prime time France. And Louis XIV, he was also known as the Sun King. So you probably know who that is. And he ruled his palace of Versailles from 1638 to 1715. He's actually the one who built Versailles, which became, of course, the home of the French royal court. If you know anything about Versailles, you know it's extremely grand. It has 700 rooms. It's just decked out in every like decadence you could ever want. It was like the bougiest of bougie castles, and it became world renowned. Like it was the standard in Europe for a palace. There was nothing fancier. Louis himself believed himself to be like God's representative on Earth. He adopted the sun as his emblem because the planets revolve around the sun as France revolves around him. And I don't know if this is real. I didn't find it in my research, but I was told as a kid that like every time he woke up, his whole court had to surround his bed and like be standing there at attention when he woke up. That might not be true, but it kind of like it represents how he thought of himself and how he ran his court.
It seems like it would be true.
Yeah, it definitely could be. He was very egotistical. He literally thought of himself as a god among men.
Yeah, it's not unrealistic.
No. So before he came into power, the nobility was kind of threatening the royalty of France. The nobility thought of themselves as the real power of France. The nobility was more of a figurehead, and the nobility was doing their own thing. They weren't really listening to the crown. They were fighting with each other, and so that made it hard for the crown to like really utilize them and help them with government. And so what Louis did...
I chugged my wine too quick. Okay, I'm sorry. What Louis did was...
What Louis did was he invited all the nobility of France to his palace, and he gave them everything they wanted. He gave them banquets and just all the luxuries, and he was like, it's all here. This is all for you. As long as you're in this with me and you do as I say. And so then they just became like little leeches to the popular girl. And they just did like everything that Louis said so that they could keep getting his cool stuff.
It seems like there were probably strings attached.
There were certainly strings attached. But it worked out really well for France. It unified the country. And I also have some fun facts about Louis, you know, just for fun, because he's kind of a fun character. Like I said, Louis was looked at like a god in people's eyes. They owed everything. They owed this cool life they had at Versailles to him. And everyone wanted to impress him. Once, one of his chefs named Vittel had to prepare a banquet for 2,000 of Louis's guests at his palace. And some things happened and he accidentally sent the fish out late. And he was so upset that he embarrassed himself in front of Louis that he committed French seppuku. Is that what it's called? Where he stabbed himself through the heart.
I'm so glad you explained that because honestly, seppuku sounds like a dish.
Is that what it's called, or is it seppuku? It's
I have no idea.
It's where the samurai in Japan would commit ritual suicide.
Oh no.
When they were dishonored. And so he did that.
When the fish was late.
Yeah, just the fish was late.
Oh
Our
my
cats
gosh.
act like they're gonna commit
Yeah.
French seppuku when their canned fish is late.
Yes.
Yeah, they
absolutely.
do.
Oh my God. The cats, I was talking on the phone with my mom today because it was her birthday, and the cats were being so annoying. Like they were jumping on my lap. Ghost doesn't get on my lap, but he gets on my desk and crawls all over everything I'm trying to do. And I was trying to do my makeup and he was like walking all over everything. And then Ernie was like crying and sitting on my lap. And I had to be like, Alec, like please feed the cats because they're being so fucking annoying.
I feel like I want to commit seppuku when the cats go crazy like that.
Yeah, they're so annoying. Or in the mornings when they're crying outside our door at 5 a.m. Anyway, Louis also was an avid ballet dancer, and this gave him very muscular legs. And so every time he had a portrait painted of him, he had the artist emphasize his legs. So there's, of course, all these portraits painted where he's kind of like flexing a little bit.
Work it.
He's working it.
Yeah, he is. He's popping. We're looking at a picture of him right now. He is like popping that quad muscle. I see you. That calf.
And while we're still on this photo, he popularized the red-heeled shoe. So you can see he's wearing some red bottoms. And so he's the one that made that into fashion. Like from him on in France, that was the standard for nobility. You wanted your red bottoms.
Wow. That's a long, long time. What a legacy.
Louis Vuitton, Louis the 14th. I don't know. Maybe it's connected.
Probably.
I'm making that up, but maybe.
I mean, that seems like that's probably it. And if not, then I think we just made that it.
Connect the dots, sheeple.
That's right. Open your eyes.
Who popularized the boots with the fur?
I need to know.
Because I'm rocking it.
You really are. Today you are wearing boots with the fur.
Faux fur. Don't come after me.
It is real cold outside. I'm wearing a turtleneck under my sweatshirt.
It's very 90s. I like it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm also wearing 90s. I am looking very 90s today.
I mean, the 90s are now. 90s are now.
Yes. Yeah, I guess I am wearing like a full 90s outfit. Cute. Okay. Louis owned the Hope Diamond, which is arguably the world's most famous jewel. It's a big blue diamond. It's about the size of a walnut. It now rests in the Smithsonian. And the Hope Diamond...
Wait, in Washington? D.C.?
The Smithsonian? I guess, yeah.
I've seen it.
You have?
Yeah, I have.
Tell me what it looks like.
It looks like a big blue diamond, and I saw it in Washington, D.C.
Is it just a blue diamond, or is there more?
I don't remember. I was like 8.
Okay. I don't believe you.
You don't have to.
I'm kidding. I believe you.
You don't have to for it to be true.
Now it's like made into a necklace. So it's like a blue diamond surrounded by like white diamonds in a necklace.
I literally don't remember, but I remember seeing a big ass diamond and
Yeah.
everyone was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm 8. I don't know what's going on.
That was probably the Hope Diamond. And he owned it. It was rumored to be cursed because many of its owners, including Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, died very violent deaths. You know, that's probably not true. It was just an excuse to sell papers, much like the curse of King Tut's tomb. But he owned it, kind of cool, until it was stolen in the French Revolution.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was after Louis XIV, but that's when it got taken from the French monarchy. He owned 1,000 wigs.
What?
I'm jealous.
Me too.
Yeah.
I want one wig.
I would like one wig too. I would really like a Khaleesi wig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would look good blonde.
I do look good
Weird.
blonde. I do.
Weird.
But it's so expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
It's unreal. Especially like I have dark brown hair, so maintaining like blonde, you have to go to a good expensive salon and it takes like a year to even get it as light as it's supposed to be. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get a wig.
Yes.
We've got money coming.
That's right. We got our bribery bonus and we've got our stimulus check coming. All right. He also had 413 beds and he was only 5'4". So he was a little guy, but he wore these huge wigs and high-heeled shoes. And so when he was in public, people said he looked 7 feet tall.
Probably because everyone else was also like, the 5'4" was probably tall for the times, honestly.
No, it was still short for the time.
Really?
It's a myth that people were much shorter. People were only like an inch, maybe 2 inches on average shorter than they are now. So I think the average height for a man around that time was 5'7" or 8.
I thought they were much shorter. Wow.
No, they weren't. They really weren't that much shorter. Maybe in medieval times they were much shorter, but this was only like 300 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Wow. Thanks for teaching me.
You're welcome. But, you know, he had such a presence and he was always decked out and all this stuff and had so many people around him that he looked like a god. People thought he was huge. In 1848, Lord Harcourt gave William Buckland, who was the Dean of Westminster, a piece of Louis XIV's mummified heart as a gift.
Wow. I don't know if that's amazing or terrifying. Maybe
Well,
both.
It's terrifying because what William Buckland did, he was a geologist and he just assumed that his friend was giving him a rock, like a cool rock, because he's a geologist. He likes rocks. And I don't know why he did this, but he thought it was a rock, so he put it in his mouth and then he accidentally swallowed it.
He's like, is this a real rock? Would they do this with coins, right? Those pirates I hear about.
Yeah.
They try him out.
Maybe
I
that's
swallowed
what
it.
he was doing. I don't know.
Maybe he knew it was a piece of a heart.
Maybe.
What if it showed a picture of William Buckworth and he was like a 3-year-old?
William Buckworth, Dean of Westminster, geologist, and he's just like drooling on his diaper.
It's a walk.
That'd be hilarious. So let's just get back to General Louis. Those are my fun facts. The early years of his reign were extremely successful. Like I said, he really brought France under a power. He was the power instead of all these warring nobles. It was very successful. France became a dominant world power. They had Versailles. He was a real patron of the arts and sciences. He really invested money into these things. But he also, you know, liked to start wars because it gave him attention. He got some more property from these wars, got some more money every once in a while, but he kept starting he kept stirring the pot. He was a shit stirrer. And eventually those wars caught up with France and plunged them into debt. France started getting defeated in battle, and the country devolved into famine. Shit sucked. When Louis XIV died, he was so hated that at his funeral procession, the common people were cheering. So that was bad.
I can relate to that.
Can you?
Yeah, January 6th when we got rid of Donald Trump.
I was like, who's cheering at a funeral procession? But yes, exactly. It was much like that, except worse, because people were literally starving in the streets. I mean, terrible things have happened to people under Trump as well with healthcare and, poverty. But it was like everyone hated this guy.
Yeah, same, but different.
Same, but different. And so this is kind of the France in our story. We have a ruler who anything he says goes. He's treated as a literal god. France is soaring into prosperity and then plunging into poverty and disrepair. As for where our prisoner was, he was moved around several times between prominent French prisons. But the most amount of time, I believe, he spent in a prison and where he died was in a prison called Bastille. Bastille is a very, very famous French prison. It was ransacked during the French Revolution, and it was originally constructed to defend eastern Paris from potential English attacks. So it was originally built as essentially like a fort. It was a big wall, and people stood guard. Construction began in 1357, but it really started picking up in 1370. It was converted into a state prison in 1417. Then later, under Louis XIV, it was converted into a prison for the upper class members of French society. So it was turned kind of nice. Only important people were sent there. And over Louis XIV's 43-year reign, 2,320 individuals were imprisoned there. Not all at one time. Louis was known for imprisoning anyone who was even just mildly irritating to him. He could have you thrown in jail. And a lot of those people, were sent there because if someone important embarrassed him, he wouldn't send them to any prison. He'd send them to this prison that was it was the cool prison. Louis XIV was a major Catholic. And even if you disagreed with him on a very minor piece of Catholic dogma, prison, jail. It's like that Parks and Rec bit where Fred Armisen is jail.
Yeah.
And he was like that. Typical offenses that would land inmates in prison included espionage, counterfeiting, and embezzlement. He also, like I said, he was a major Catholic, so he imprisoned a ton of Protestants. Go to jail, go to jail, go to jail. Anyone imprisoned at Bastille would have personally been called there by Louis under a letter with a royal seal.
So, wow, just imagine that. You get so excited to see a royal letter at your door. What if you waited? You're okay, I'm gonna wait till my friends and family are here to open it with me. You host a whole feast, and then you open it. It's you've got jail.
So I'll tell you how it actually happened.
Okay.
Getting arrested, it was that dramatic. What would happen was someone from, the royal jail would come up with a white baton and they'd tap you on the shoulder with it.
Wow. That's something else.
It really is. And they would tell you were being formally detained in the name of the king.
I just picture... I don't know who I picture doing that, but that's quite flamboyant, if you will.
Louis XIV is pretty flamboyant. They're rumors.
You get tapped with a white baton. You're off to jail. Give me the cuffs.
Jail.
Jail.
Detainees, you'd get sent to jail, and they didn't tell you how long you were going to be there.
They're I might like jail.
They probably did like jail. It honestly sounds pretty cool. They were held there for an indefinite amount of time. You never knew. You were just put in jail. You didn't have a trial. It was just you're detained in the name of the king. You're going to go to this jail, and we're not telling you shit. People typically spent 5 to 7 years there, but it was torture because you didn't know how long you were going to be there. And the prison was super secretive. They didn't want anyone knowing who was held there. They didn't want anyone knowing why anyone was held there, which makes it difficult to figure out who the person in the mask was and why they were there. Under Louis XIV, there were usually only 20 to 50 prisoners in there at a time. In 1703, there were as many as 111 prisoners, but that's the most it ever had. It's not like it was overcrowded. This was a big place. And it wasn't a regular prison. It was a cool, rich person's prison. It was a big stone castle, essentially. There were towers. Most of the cells were above ground. It wasn't like your typical dungeon prison that you think of at this time. There were some really bad cells, but under Louis XIV, they were rarely used. Most people had pretty comfortable accommodations. The cells were more like rooms. Prisoners could pay for extra luxuries. They could wear their own clothes, have nice furnished rooms with art and tapestries. Some of them had the freedom to walk through the castle gardens and along the walls, and there was even a library. So they had freedom to a degree.
Yeah, jail is sounding pretty good.
And I don't want to say it was great because it obviously wasn't great. And after Louis XIV, this jail got worse, which we see like in the French Revolution when it was raided. But like under him, it really was just a place where they would like contain rich nobility who they maybe just like didn't want threatening the crown or didn't want threatening the religion. You know, like it was just kind of a holding
Let me
area.
just put you somewhere else where you can't talk to people.
Exactly. A lot of them had these freedoms, but of course the masked prisoner probably didn't. They seem to have kept him separated from the other prisoners and didn't really let him talk to people. So he probably was kind of kept up in this tower room. Maybe he had a bed, some comforts, some books. And being in this prestigious prison where you have to be called there by the king and his exclusion from the rest of the prison tells us that the mask was probably a very important person, or at least had a very important secret. So,
secrets.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
Secrets are no fun. You must share with someone.
I'm going to try to share with you. There are several main theories as to who the mask was and why he was there.
Okay, let me get my earwax endoscope and just clear this out real quick so I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. The most famous and cinematic theory, of course, was popularized by philosopher Voltaire and, as we talked about before, Alexandre Dumas. And they speculated that the prisoner might be a twin brother of Louis XIV, and they also spread the rumor that his mask was made of iron.
If I ever have twin daughters, I'm going to name them Holly and Claudia Severa. And then Claudia's going to end up putting Holly in a freaking locked up tower.
That's fucking right. There can only be one, bitch.
So true. So true. Wouldn't you rather have one great daughter than two normal daughters?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
The answer is yes.
Absolutely. Also, I actually really like the name Claudia. Maybe
Me
I'll name
too.
my child that.
I think it's really cute.
Yeah, I like it.
Also, I just wanted to cut in. I think it's Alexander Dumas.
Dumas. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Correction. It's Alexander Dumas. I'm about to mispronounce a lot of names, so buckle up. And of course,
So boucle up.
boucle up. That's right.
That was good.
Thank you.
This myth that it was possibly the twin brother of Louis XIV or that the mask was made of iron was the inspiration to a ton of historical fiction that we see, you know, over and over again, especially in the Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Sadly, this is probably not true.
Historical fan fiction and historical porno.
The mutt and the iron muzzle.
Doggy style.
Oh my God. Hundreds, actually probably more like dozens of people have been named over the years as possibilities for who this mystery man is. But It's been narrowed down by historians to about 2 people who it probably was one of these 2. And that is Ercole Mattioli and Estauche Dujar.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
And we know exactly how to say their names.
We are smart.
Smart. Ercole Mattioli was an Italian count. He was abducted and jailed after he tried to double-cross Louis XIV in a political negotiation. So basically what happened, he was a count, but like at the same time he was impoverished. He was in debt, so he had a favor to pay to the higher-up guys. So he was given the shitty secret responsibility of negotiating a secret treaty of 1678, where basically he would give the stronghold of Casale to France in exchange for 100,000 écus. I don't know how to say that. It was their currency. I didn't look up how to say any of this shit, so sorry.
Well, it probably wouldn't have helped you much because I practiced several times in my lesson pronouncing their names.
It really doesn't help, which is why I just go for it.
We just need to learn the language. I think that would help if we learned it first and then we pronounced the names.
Yeah. Or if we had more time. We're teachers. We got jobs.
We're teaching the youth, the future.
Yeah. Do you realize how tired I am after work every day?
I slept for 12 hours yesterday. I slept from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Oh my God. That's impressive. I'm jealous. I thought that was going to happen to me yesterday, but then I started watching Crime Scene, the new Netflix docuseries. Have you seen that?
No, I don't have Netflix anymore.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's about the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's really good. But then that kept me up all
Isn't
night.
that, and that's why we drink, covered the Cecil Hotel.
Right?
I'm
I'm sure they did. And then Wine and Crime also talked about it a little bit on their most recent episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's about that. It's really good. Anyway, as soon as this treaty was signed, Mattioli decided he'd go and gossip about the secret treaty he just arranged to several foreign courts. And that was a big hell no, because France was purchasing a stronghold. They wanted to keep it a secret so that, no one would attack it, I guess. And so Louis was super mad and he arrested him. The masked prisoner was buried under the alias Marchiole, which of course is similar to Macchiole. So people think maybe this is the same guy. Both Louis XV and Louis XIV also said that the masked prisoner was an Italian nobleman, and Mattioli was an Italian nobleman.
And now, in remembrance, we have the dance. Hey, Mactrole.
That's all the time we have, folks.
Yeah, goodbye.
We've reached our limit.
Yeah, we've reached a new low. However, this is probably not the case because Mattioli died in 1694, whereas the masked prisoner, we have recorded that he died in 1703. And also, Mattioli was documented to have died in East Sainte Marguerite, while the mask died in Bastille.
Literally, me right now is the meme of the woman trying to do like geometry. With
I know. There's a lot.
I'm like, numbers? What?
Numbers? Like the years that I just listed?
Yeah. Dates.
So you can't decipher that 1694 was a different year than 1703?
No, I can decipher that, but what I'm telling you is that what you say goes in one ear and what you say goes out the other.
You have opened the box of wine now, I can see.
I have.
So before we left, you were drinking out of that box. Then we drank the entire bottle of rosé, and now the box is back. So I can see what's happening.
I'm hanging in.
Yeah, we're almost done.
I'm listening. They're different dates.
Yes.
And they're like, what?
Yes. We don't know. So I told you earlier, Hayley, if you forgot, that there were two main suspects for who the mask is. It probably wasn't that first guy, although there is some evidence to suggest it was. The more likely option is Eustache Duget. I don't know. We don't know much about him, but we do know that his 1669 arrest warrant instructed his guards not to let him interact with any prisoners and to, quote, threaten him with death if he speaks one word except about his actual needs.
That's like teachers in school. Like, I swear if you talk to your friend one more time.
Oh my God. Yeah. When we're about to go back into school and I have a classroom full of kids that are doing virtual learning.
That haven't seen each other
ever. And they're supposed to be doing their own virtual learning and I'm supposed to babysit them while I'm doing virtual learning with the virtual kids. And I'm supposed to get them not to talk to each other all day.
Hell no.
Hell no. Hell no. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Send all the prayers. Send them.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
I know.
Amen.
I'm buying so many bribes right now for those kids. I'm buying erasers that look like animals. I'm buying cute pencils. I'm buying ring pops. I have a ticket system. If you like get the most tickets at the end of the year, you literally get $100 because I don't care. Like I'm going to spend my entire paycheck to get those kids to behave.
That's committed. Good for you.
You have to be. I'd rather spend all the money than deal with literal hell.
You bought your kids like a bike last year.
No,
right?
I bought them a literal electric scooter and $100 gift card as bribes because never mind.
Well, tell
I'm
me
not gonna say
after
it.
this
Okay.
because I do want to know what happened.
It worked very well. But then somehow the $100 gift card went missing from my classroom.
Oops.
But it worked. It still worked.
It was stolen for the listeners. It sounded like you were like, oops, I took my own $100 gift card.
Oh, no. I'm just saying I may have lost it. I don't know where it went. But so we unexpectedly had to leave the building for COVID. And when I came back into my classroom, I was so excited to have $100 and then I couldn't find it.
That sucks.
Yeah.
It was stolen.
Okay, but I don't want to accuse anyone. We don't know for sure. Maybe it'll turn up.
Somebody somewhere now, then, or in the future got $100 to spend.
And you know what? I'm happy for them. I would like that too. During his imprisonment, Daguerre moved around between prisons, and we know that once he was transported in a covered chair so that people on the street wouldn't be able to recognize him. So we think that maybe like they were concealing his identity then. Maybe he was the masked person.
Okay, as if that would conceal someone. Like imagine someone being rolled through the streets and they have like a mysterious sheet over them. You would definitely be like, what?
But you wouldn't know who was under the sheet.
That's true, but it would cause a ruckus.
I guess. But if the whole point is that you don't know who it is, you don't know who it is. You just know they're carrying someone around.
That's true. But I think that knowing how like girls can stalk their boyfriend's activity on social media, I think that people have the skills to like get to the bottom of
Hayley,
things.
this was the 1600s.
It's even easier.
No, it's way harder.
Were you
You
there?
don't even have pictures of people. How do you know anything?
Instincts.
No, Hayley, you don't understand. You don't understand.
You don't understand.
You don't understand what it was like.
Why don't you tell me what it was like?
I'm trying, but you keep interrupting me.
Okay. You told me to talk. And I'm talking.
I did, but also we've reached a good
the
time for
limit.
this episode. We've made it.
We're going to cut out like 100% of the front end of this episode, though.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Probably, though.
No, we're not.
I saw the look in Alex's eyes.
Alex shaking his head at you. You don't know Alec. You don't know France in the 1600s, and you don't know Alec.
You're right. Why don't you just teach me about it then?
I'm fucking trying. I'm trying so hard right now. Hayley, if you shut up for 5 minutes, I'll give you an eraser that looks like an otter.
You don't know what kids want. And that's not it.
I know exactly what kids want. And they want ring pops. They want erasers that look like animals. And they want pencils that have emojis on them. And they want $100. I know exactly what kids fucking want. That's what kids want. Mic drop.
You should buy them followers on TikTok and Instagram. That's what kids want.
They can use their $100 gift card to get exactly that.
Okay.
Okay, so I win.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. My kids are going to be the best behaved on that entire hall because they want a fucking ring pop at the end of the day, all right?
Oh my God.
All the teachers listening to this are interested in everyone
like,
else.
Hell yeah.
Like, ring pops.
We stand.
Hey, pro tip. You can get 40 ring pops for $20 on Amazon.
Wow.
And I bought 60 erasers that look like different animals for $18.99.
Look at you.
Yeah. Things are going really well. No, they're not. Things are terrible.
Things are going terribly well.
Yeah. Oh, where was I?
We will never know. Just
Terribly
end it now.
Well would be a good podcast name.
It would be.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, you guys can buy it from us if you want. And we have this name of him, but we don't know if this was his real name or a pseudonym. We also don't know who he really was or why he was in prison. We think he was a valet, although we're not sure why a valet would be held in such tight security for so many years.
Or existing in the 1600s.
What do you mean?
What is a valet?
They'd like drive the carriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the same but different.
It's the same, but yes, a
Okay.
little bit different. Shut up, Hayley. We're almost done. And possibly why he would have been held like in these fancy prisons as a valet is because he might have been the valet of Treasurer Cardinal Mazarin, who was the principal minister of France. And Cardinal Mazarin had a huge fortune. He was rich. He was a bougie bitch. And he was rumored to have gotten some of this fortune from stealing from the Queen and King of England. And it's possible Doge may have been gossiping about this and the wrong person may have heard him. So they tried to shut him up by, putting him in prison. This wouldn't really explain why his identity was kept so secret, so we're not sure about this. Doge was also thought to have maybe been the valet of Nicolas Fouquet, and he was at one point... Fouquet. And Nicolas Fouquet said Fouquet, and he used his position to steal money for sure. He was the finance minister of France. Of course, he was embezzling. And according to some sources, Doge was kept in close confinement with another man who served Fouquet. And
you can't have the name Fouquet and not embezzle.
Yeah, he had to. It wasn't his fault.
It's in the genes.
It was his destiny. But these two people who worked for Fouquet were kept together and away from everyone else. So we think this is maybe to conceal any secrets about Fouquet that they may have had. We don't know what those secrets may have been other than that he was embezzling, but that was a well-known fact because he was arrested by the crown for embezzling. So we don't really know. The whole thing remains shrouded in mystery. We still don't know who the man in the iron mask was. He was probably this person, Doge, but why he was kept in a mask, we're not certain of. There is evidence to suggest that he didn't always wear the mask. He just wore the mask some of the time. But still, why would he be kept to wear the mask at all? And why would he be in these prisons where only the very most important people in the kingdom go?
For fashion. For clout.
Fashion. Yes. We really don't know.
Let's get out the Ouija board tonight and ask.
Yeah, let's ask Doge.
Louis the 14th, are you there?
He clumps in his Louboutins.
Yeah.
And Hayley's wearing her planchette earrings.
Yeah.
I am.
She
That's
is.
a sign. It's really easy to break out the Ouija board.
It is. We should do it.
All right.
We always say we're going to do it and then we never do. Let's actually do it.
All right. Follow through.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it work, designers.
Work it.
Make it work. Again, It's still a mystery. We have yet to crack the code. Historians all over the place think they have an answer, but there's no good answer. There's no for sure answer. And that is the mystery of the man in the iron mask. My sources are Wikipedia, history.com, Britannia.com, bibliography.com, livescience.com, medium.com, and fascinate.com.
Wow, that's like the blue balls of all lessons. Thanks for that.
I know. I'm sorry. I told my lesson to Alec today, and I started by saying we don't know who it is. And he was like, maybe you could rearrange this so it's like less disappointing. And so I tried. Hopefully it's not too disappointing. It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
For an unsolved mystery, you have to keep it an unsolved mystery.
Right.
So you have to keep the mystery part and then you let them down easy.
And
It's
also,
unsolved.
like, the two main theories aren't that fun. It's like, maybe it's this Italian count or maybe it's a valet. Like, it's not like it's anything that spectacular. So
yeah,
I think not knowing who it is more fun.
it's better.
Like, you can imagine maybe it was Louis XIV's evil twin.
I just really like the idea of someone tapping someone with a baton.
That was my
saying
favorite
it.
part too. You've been arrested in the name of the king.
Yeah, they need to bring that back ASAP.
Well, that was fun. Thank you guys for
So
listening.
fun. That was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope I cheered you up after Hayley's really upsetting lesson. And if you enjoyed either of our lessons, you can rate, review, and subscribe. That is a great way to help us out. You can tell a friend about our podcast. You can follow us on social media. Or, of course, you can donate to our Patreon and become part of our little family we have going on there. So thank you again for listening. And 3, 2, 1, class dismissed.